If you're looking for a roundup of stories from around the Papanui area in the last week, great news, you're in the right place. Keep watching. Kia ora, this is Simon from Think Papanui. It's been a really busy week this last week, so this video might be a little bit longer than some, but please persevere. A lot of stuff's happening. I'll also post a link under the video to a recap of all these stories and further links if you need more information. This week in Papanui, I've published a link to a podcast from Radio New Zealand on an interview that I did with Jesse Milligan talking about Think Papanui and some of the origins of the initiative and some of the interesting things that I've noticed over the last 3 years. I've posted an update around bus stop improvements on Cranford Street. The stops in the north end of Cranford Street are being upgraded. Also posted a story from the Christchurch City Council talking about tagging and stock takes of bins. And just to be aware, if your bins haven't yet been tagged, and you'll know that from a little reflective sticker on them, they're not going to be collected by the council anymore. Please do get in touch with the council if you think that's you. I published a recap over the last weekend of the joint community board meeting that considered the downstream effects of the Christchurch Northern Corridor and some thoughts around what it all means and also what's happening next. Published a progress photo on the construction of the extension of the Mitre 10 in Papanui. And top story of the week was news that full New Zealand Post services will soon be available at the Papanui Service Centre, and that replaces the New Zealand Post outlet that closed at the end of January this year. Also I published an alert that feedback closes soon on the Gardeners-Breens intersection. That closes on Monday the 10th of June. Do make sure you've had your say. It looks like there's a record-breaking amount of feedback coming in on that. There was a planting and weeding day for the community at Papanui Bush on Langton's Road. That's at the back of the Bridgestone Reserve just by the railway line. There's a video online if you'd like to check that out, just showing some brief highlights from that very, very frosty morning. Published a story that was in the Norwest News that was framed or headlined in the Norwest News as a war of words over the ongoing story about the concrete table, the ping pong table at 10 Shirley Road, and that story also described the walkout from that board meeting of a community board member. Papanui High School's Board of Trustees election isn't an election, and that's really surprised me because in previous years I can recall quite a long list of candidates who were nominated for the Papanui High Board of Trustees. This year hasn't gone to election because it appears there haven't been enough nominees. Interesting. Other schools, elections, voting has now closed, so if you're a parent or caregiver at another school other than Papanui High and you had the opportunity to vote, I hope you did that. There was a story also in the Norwest News this week around the history of the Firestone factory in Papanui. It was part 3 of a series. You can find all 3 of those if you look back on Think Papanui. Elections are coming up. I published a story this week around nominees for People's Choice. So People's Choice are aligned to the Labour Party. They have 2 nominees who will be contesting either community board or council seats in Papanui Ward this year. You can read about that. And probably what's turning into top post of the week was news around the overpass at QE2 Drive on the Christchurch Northern Corridor project. Apparently there's been too much settlement or movement. That's a partly constructed bridge. You might have seen it there if you drive through, just in the Grimsey's Road area. That's now going to have to be deconstructed back to ground level, more piles put in and then built again. Closing soon. Do remember to put your submission in or your feedback in on the Gardeners-Breens intersection. That closes on Monday. Also coming up this week, Redwood Business and Residents Group is meeting on Tuesday night. There's a post online about that if you're interested, if you live in the Redwood area, which is still part of Papanui Ward. Also this week, a couple of meetings. So the full council meeting on Thursday the 13th of June. One of the agenda items on that meeting is the downstream effects of the Christchurch Northern Corridor. It's going to be really interesting to see how the council deals with the recommendation from the joint community board meeting. And on Friday the 14th of June is the next meeting of the Waipapa Papanui-Innes Community Board. So do keep an eye on Think Papanui or on the council website if you want to check out the agenda for that meeting. I'll be sharing about that once council publishes it. Thanks again for connecting with Think Papanui. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe to Think Papanui. I appreciate that. Looking to build my audience on YouTube and to post more video content. I appreciate your feedback too. If this is the kind of content you'd like, or if you're looking for different content from Think Papanui, really appreciate hearing from you about that. Kia ora.